is, and then it's getting better. So
That's weird that you said that, because I had sinusitis infection and then laryngitis. So I just got my voice back yesterday.
wow, nice.
Damn.
That's perfect, right?
Right. Perfect timing.
Yeah. No,
Real
I'm just
fun.
dealing with the lingering effects, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good. So
Pretty
Good.
good. We know it's going to make you feel better.
what?
Crypto Campfire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because YouTube has picked up our stream. It's about 10 seconds ago. So we're technically officially live.
Cool.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Crypto Campfire podcast. This is the professor.
And Mitch.
And today we've got Sly, aka Merkle Seeds, and this is going to be a very high energy podcast. So I am entering this podcast at a very low speed because you got to pace yourself. Mitch.
Let's do
All right, so Sly, let's take this back in time real quick and start at the very beginning. When did crypto come into your life, and how did you get hooked on it?
Okay, so it would have been around 2015. I had a friend who was, every time I would see him, he tried to get me involved. And I did the way of most people do now, which is like, okay, your internet money. Okay. And then there was a time shortly after that where Bitcoin went from like 200 areas to 1,000. And around that time, I thought, okay, maybe I should pay attention to what's going on. So that's when I really got more invested in crypto. So, but I remember, this is crazy. When I first invested, there was only like a handful of projects that you could invest in. So I invested in Bitcoin first. And then anybody who knows me knows that I have held Litecoin for forever and a day. Another one was Doge, which I don't have any more of. Sadly, I should have held on to that one. And one called Mona. So I don't know if you guys remember Mona.
Vaguely.
Yeah. So it's been a long time. Yeah, that was really it for me. And the more that I started to look into Bitcoin, the more I realized, okay, well, it's not just Bitcoin. It's about this stuff called blockchain. So what is this? And so I spent a long time doing my research. And that's the moment when I was like, okay, I'm going to invest. And it wasn't for Bitcoin. It was for the technology. I knew that the technology was going to be something bigger than even I knew about at the time. Turns out I was right. So yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I remember coming into this space in 2018, and I think it was late 2018, early 2019 when I ran across, a bunch of you guys. And, I think I started following you and Jem and Witty and Sherpa and, Nick and just so many of the crew, and then Tamara and Yuki. And it just, I don't know, it's just kind of an evolution that grew over the years. And, it's always fun to interact with, just great people. And I remember when you started coming out, doing a lot more of your music and your singing, and that was awesome. And I don't know, it's just, you've been a very positive light in the space since I've known you. And I started watching some of your educational videos that you've been doing lately, and those are pretty awesome. Congratulations and kudos on that. Those are coming out pretty sweet.
Thank you.
But I hear you've been quite the traveler. Where have you been? What's been going on?
Oh man. Okay. So I'm originally from Indiana, and I'm actually back here now to visit family. But I spent all of 2020 just trying to get away. So first was Tennessee. And then the most recent trip was, I don't know if you followed, but I went down Route 66 from Chicago down to Santa Monica because I wanted to move to California. So that was my move. I knew it would be a perfect opportunity to do Route 66. So that's what I did. I had a blast.
That's awesome. I'm jealous. I've always wanted to do the Route 66 thing. I mean, I know it's not the same with all the diversions and stuff, but like it's close enough. It's cool enough to be somewhat nostalgic and exciting. I definitely got to do it.
Yeah, you do. And in certain places, you can still see Route 66 off to
Yeah.
the side. I think US 40 is what took over. So they run
Right.
kind of parallel, so you can get off and still be on Route 66 a lot, which was cool.
Yeah, totally. Maybe once I get my 52 up and running, we'll have to take that up and go for the trip. I don't know if it'll make it, but that's part of the fun is having a mechanic on the side of the road, right?
Exactly. Hey, if you make it down to Santa Monica, let me know. That's the end stop, and that's where I'm at. So
Nice. Well, we're going to be
Sure,
heading
yeah.
to Santa Monica at some point this summer. We're going to get back down to California again, visit my grandma and have a good time. So we might have to. I won't have the 52 running by then, at least not to the point where I'm going to take it corner to corner. But I might have to jump on the route and have some fun this summer.
That would be a blast. That would totally be last road trip I did was in January, and I went to December, January, right over New Year's. I went to Illinois, and then from Illinois I went down to Arkansas, and then hung out with Litecoin Lisa and Nana down in Arkansas, and then went to see my dad and family down in Texas for New Year's, and then made the journey back, stopped in Oklahoma, and yeah, it was good times.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a great New Year's. It was one of the best ones I can remember. So it was a lot of fun.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a great time. I'll go for it.
No, we're not going
to go into this rabbit hole. Just you take it. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah. So when you look back at all of the time that we've spent, I've noticed over the last, I don't know, probably it seems like Twitter separates everybody, right? Because we're used to seeing each other in the feeds all the time, and then all of a sudden you don't see hide or hair from somebody until you go like specifically digging in their feed, and you're like, oh, they're still here. Like, what's going on? But looking back, I miss those days when it seemed like everybody was so chatty and we all had good conversations and fun conversations. And nowadays it just seems like there's so much shit happening on Twitter and just so many negative things in the world. It's hard to find that positive light, you know? So like, sure. Did you guys hear, this was a little bit of a news segment that I worked up before the show.
I was like, please don't tell me you're starting a Mitch nude segment. Like, we don't need that.
I learned about nude segment.
Well,
yeah,
no,
right.
I mean, what it sounded like for a second. I was like, I'm going home. We'll do this another day.
Yeah, right. Oh shit. So in current news, I guess Dogecoin's founder bashes cryptocurrency and says that it's a scam. He got out of crypto right after creating Dogecoin and says that now it's just
so salty,
being manipulated by billionaires for the betterment of billionaires. So we'll see what happens with that. But the upside is XRP wins the SEC battle. So that's a plus towards cryptocurrency. Not that I'm all about XRP, but yeah, that's a good thing towards crypto. And then, Bitcoin seems to be capitulating. So we'll see what happens with those prices. It's
panic
where's
selling.
the bottom?
Selling.
Collection
opportunity.
I have a funny story about XRP. And I don't know what kind of flack this is going to get, but when I was first starting out, it was a few years after that project came about, XRP. And I happened to jump on because I had a feeling that something was going to happen, because it was the first time we really saw a project that was kind of centralized. And I knew, and I still know, that that's going to be important for people who are coming into the space, for people who aren't as trustworthy of these other projects. So I actually jumped on. I got a lot of XRP, and XRP paid back most of my student loans.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you mentioned that you wish you had some Dogecoin, right? When I got into the market back in 2018, there was a point when Robinhood was doing, just starting dabbling into cryptocurrency. And I think I threw 50 or $100 on Robinhood. And then I was like, one day I was like, well, I'm going to buy some Dogecoin, whatever. I didn't even know. All I knew it was a joke. Right. And for the hell of it, I bought some. Totally spaced, totally forgot about it. Well, then last year when it was all going ape shit, I'm looking at my phone and I'm going, Robinhood. huh. I open this thing up and I'm like, holy shit, I got some Dogecoin. Sell.
Get it.
Sell.
Get it.
Yeah. That was crazy fun. But yeah, no, I mean, there's money to be made in this space. There's no question about that. But ultimately, my vision for cryptocurrency, for me at least, has been the movement, the freedom that it allows us. And I don't want to get into the cliche of banking the unbanked, but it does. And it allows us to transfer funds from one to another. It gives us freedom to move our money in a manner which we choose to do so without questions asked, without all these explosive costs. Yeah, there's fees. There's Ethereum gas right now. That's actually been coming down depending on the time of day you transact with. And the cost of moving Bitcoin, but then there's the Lightning Network. And Litecoin's always been cheap. You're a big Litecoin proponent. Litecoin's always been cheap and has kind of been that checking account, that spending money. So this movement to me has been all of that. The technology is cool, but I'm an old guy. Come on, I can only grasp so much technology. I'm used to hammers and nails, right? So it's hard for me to get as deep as, say, the professor when it comes to tech. But when you look at the innovation that's been in this space and the creativity of this space, it's been off the charts. There's no way around that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think some of what Jackson Palmer mentioned is kind of a good topic to talk about in a way. I mean, so it's kind of one of those situations where like he's not wrong, but he's totally wrong at the same time. Some aspects he hit it like right on the head.
Yep.
And some aspects he's just like, you can tell that he's still a little like Sherpa had it right in the comments. Like he's a good dude, but he's salty as fuck. Like he really is. And I mean, he's brilliant. He's a great programmer. He's a interesting person. Like when he left Twitter for a little while actually, but when he was on Twitter, like his Twitter account was interesting to follow but there was always that salt about crypto, and like I get it. I mean, we've all been burned, maybe not as much as him considering, what the potential would have been. I have no idea how many tokens he had or whatever, but like, how Doge is gone. It's like crazy. So, but there's a lot of manipulation in the space. There's a lot of scams in the space. Maybe, if you want to go by the principle of what he's saying and look and say that Bitcoin was created as a scam to enrich the rich, if we assume that's true, I don't think it is, but let's say we assume that's true, there is still the thing that happens where you have an open source technology that gets adopted by a new group of people and it evolves and becomes something else. And like, so even if Bitcoin started as some weird high level scam that we just can't see or we don't know, that doesn't mean that the underlying tech is not revolutionizing the world. Like it's fucking technology. Like it's not a company. It's not, I mean, I know that Bitcoin is its own individual project, but the application of Bitcoin and the application of every subsequent cryptocurrency or token platform of any sort is just that next step in evolving our technology stack. So, you can't say that all cryptocurrencies are a scam. You just can't possibly say that. It just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
So really important question. Really important question that we've got to get into. If you had to replace your left eyeball with any automotive object, what would it be and why?
Any automotive object?
Yep.
Ooh, I got it.
Mitch has already got one.
Replace my left eye with any automotive object.
Correct.
Maybe a horn?
Oh, I like it.
Maybe a headlight. Headlight or
Okay.
horn.
Hey, there we go.
Answer.
Headlights. You can have a multi-purpose headlight horn. I'll count that. It'd be easy enough
With the
to
windshield wiper blade on it, like the BMWs.
Okay, so what kind of horn is it? Is it like a Ooga horn or like the Dixie horn, or we just got a straight up regular car horn? Train horn. Mine would be a
truck horn.
I don't know if you guys have studied Tesla, but Tesla has a feature where you can voice record and make your horn say whatever it wants to say, really? Whether it's your voice or whatever. It's cool.
That's awesome.
Mine would do that. I would change it every day to say like, move, get out the way. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. I like
Bitch,
that.
you just cut me off.
You know, like I don't want to get too dark here, but I mean, there are people that have, you know, an open attachment location like that, and it wouldn't be too hard to invent an eyeball socket horn flashlight. So I mean, I'm just saying, there's a market.
Cyborg.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's always a market. There's always a group of people
man.
that want something crazy.
I'm not going to
So.
go down that path. I don't want to start manufacturing that kind of stuff. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that.
So Sly, what got you into music? Where did your music talents stem from?
Oh man, it was I know you don't get into religion. It was church choir. And you know, I'm now not associated with churches or whatever, but every time I went, I would hear the choir sing and I was like, I want to do that. And so it progressed from there. I ended up in high school. I was in 5 different choirs, including a state choir. I've just been singing since I was probably 8 years old. And then that went to theater and on and on. My mom played guitar. Sadly, she has a terminal illness. So I decided in the past year to learn guitar so that she could hear me play live before the inevitable happens. So yeah, music's always been part of my life. Always, always. I just love it.
That's so awesome. So like when I grew up, I was in choir. I think I started in choir in like 7th grade. And I carried that until 9th or 10th. And then my daughter, I had a daughter, and she was in choir since she was in 6th grade. And now she teaches choir and teaches music education. So it's pretty awesome.
That's
neat. to have a child that since 6th or 7th grade knew what they wanted to do with their life and then turn around and actually do it. It's just, I get goosebumps. It's been a great experience. And music has been something that's always been moving, always. Everybody I think experiences that with different music, right? We all find peace. We all get pumped up over certain songs. We all, can relax and music soothes us. There's so many different ways that music can impact people. It can heal. It's crazy, the power of music and the power of the arts, so to speak, because I think that's one thing that we're losing in the world is the arts. I think that's something that's being taken out of schools, and you only can pursue it if you pay for it and go after school, right? Yeah, and that's a shame.
Yeah. I had always made a joke because I can pluck away at the piano. I could sight read and stuff because I did choir for so long, but I'm not a good piano player. And guitar, I just started to learn. So I used to joke that the majority of my life, I've just been training my voice so that that's my instrument, so that I don't have to go anywhere without music. It's because it's always in me. I'm carrying it always.
I like that. So I haven't seen, or have you done anything with minting NFTs on the music side of things, or?
So I am starting to do that, and I actually, I can't tell you too much about it right yet, but I am starting to work with a team involving NFTs and music. And it's a concept that I've been working on for a really long time. It's nothing that I've seen before. So I recently just pitched that to them, and we're going to move forward on that. So I'm hoping to have something to show you guys within the next, I'm going to say maybe 6 months, because it's going to take a while to develop. So, but yeah, NFTs and music.
Nice.
I was so excited when NFTs came out, and it it bothered me when they first came out, and people were like, "Oh, it's just like for artists and stuff," and I was like, "No, you don't understand. You can do it with so many things, and not just music, but like contracts or applications or gaming, or there's so many applications." And I don't think enough people realize how much utilities NFTs are going to have going forward in terms of ownership for artists, period.
Yeah, and then above and beyond that, like a lot of the things you mentioned, there's so many use cases for NFTs that are above and beyond the arts in general that it's just so insane. Like
Mhm.
it's just as, it's almost as revolutionary as the concept of cryptocurrency as far as blockchain applications go. I mean, like it's just as big, it changes the world just as much. And then, you take things like music that has traditionally, I mean, a song is a song, like it starts and it ends, right? And then, so we think, until things like async art come along and introduce programmable music where like multiple people or even one person can create a song, and then like you can update the blockchain to change part of that song in a state. And I mean, like this is not something that you couldn't do before. You can do this without blockchain. It's not really that sort of thing, but it's something that has never really been done before. And so it's just because there's this new platform that, with anything in the crypto space, really, it's really easy to drive monetary value out of stuff. So it allows for a lot of experimentation and a lot of evolution, because now you have a way to do something totally crazy you're just actually experimenting with, totally just messing around, but actually make it so you can pay people to do it. So we start seeing all kinds of crazy stuff happen that we just never seen before, and I'm excited to see what comes, in the next year or two that we haven't even imagined.
For sure.
I'm excited to
Especially
learn what fungible means, or non-fungible actually. But yeah,
Wait, are you kidding, or do you actually?
Of course I'm kidding.
Okay, I was like, I know that you've said this before, but I was worried that maybe you had legitimately forgotten, and I was going to have to help you for a minute. So,
sorry, I just had to interject.
It's a good thing. Sometimes you have to,
right? Oh shit! We got some really cool people. I want to do this quick throw out to everyone in the chat. We got Dorsey78, who is a good friend of mine from back in 2018, back in April of 2018, when I
all
those first few
FOMO'd
months
into shitcoins together. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly. Exactly. And we got Benza and JMac and Litecoin Lisa and Gems in there and Shitcoin Sherpa. And who else is in there? JMac's in there. I know
Charlie
JMac's
G.
in there. Polly P, Charlie G.
Clint
Nice.
My
Westwood,
God, we got one hell of a lineup
Rebecca.
in the chat. And it was funny because when I was all like, nobody's gonna guess this, right? I did that throw out tweet on Monday or Tuesday that this person's gonna be on the campfire on Thursday, and if you guess, you get a t-shirt and blah blah blah. And then fucking Tam, wham, like
12 seconds.
I thought, yeah, right. It didn't even. I don't think the tweet was. She goes, "Are we supposed to guess now?"
No. Hold on.
Like,
Let's go back in time for a second. I'm going to pull up the text messages. Here we go. This is. We're going deep. Text messages between Mitch and I here.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Nope, I can't find. There's too many text messages. But basically, we have a lot, dude. Basically, Mitch says, "I'm gonna give away a T-shirt with this thing as a guest," and I'm like, okay. And I don't remember what the conversation that happened, but it was like a period of 3 minutes. And Mitch says, "Well, it's okay because like nobody's gonna get it anyway. We probably wouldn't even have to give a T-shirt away." And like the second he said that, I get a Twitter notification that's like, "Is it Merkle Seeds?" And I'm like, "How the fuck?" And I was like, "Did you tell somebody? Like, did she know?"
No, I didn't
know.
I guess I might as well have put your picture on there and said this person, da 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 da, right? I mean, it was funny as shit.
That was amazing.
Oh my God!
I feel like we have to send 2 T-shirts because of the speed on that.
Wait, I'm not done yet. So Tam, being her amazing self, would like to donate her T-shirt to Grateful River. And I look at it like this. If you are willing to forego a gift and give it to somebody else, then you're still going to get your gift.
You're getting one anyway.
I'm not about that. You guys both get T-shirts. And I just think that,
Grateful River does like a shitload of camping and like traveling and stuff too. Maybe we got to toss in a coffee mug.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. That's really not a bad idea. So yeah, it just warmed my heart when she DM'd me and asked me if she could do that. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you're still getting a T-shirt. So you better go pick one out,
Oh, sweet.
So it was pretty awesome. I love how that whole thing came together and how you accepted the request and you're here with us and just good times. So, I'm trying to think if there's another question. I know we have a bunch of questions.
there's
Is there any
another question.
questions from anybody in the audience?
Questions from anybody in the audience? Well,
Yes,
yeah.
Jem says the gift is giving. Absolutely, it totally is.
Should we wait for a question? Should we make one up?
Jem, what a sweetheart. Love
Isn't
her.
she? Yeah, she's awesome. Charlie G. The whole room is just filled with some pretty amazing people. So
This is the
always,
busiest the chat's ever been.
It is.
I will say
It
that.
is.
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
almost like people are getting Pokemon cards. Or
That's what
something.
happens when you get stars on the
Forms.
show. You know, you gotta have stars on the show to get people
Stars.
in. You know, you get stars.
Yeah. It's a good time. You know, we've talked a lot about maybe organizing a game or something like that to play on the podcast, but I come up with any good ideas. You have any ideas for games that we can play on the podcast?
Right. Come on, Sly. You can throw one in there.
On the spot, make it up.
Games in terms of like
You should
trivia.
play charades.
Ooh, that's the right answer right there. Just trivia in general. We should just do trivia.
Verbal charades.
Verbal charades. I like verbal charades. Oh, good time. No, so I'm kind of curious. Like, let's get out of the crypto world for a minute and just kind of look at the evolution of tech in general. So we have this issue where we're kind of, especially with crypto being so proof of work oriented, we're trying to get away from that, but there's still a lot of energy use. Do you see any issues where we're going to run into, like, maybe we've evolved so much in tech, but we can't really use it because we just literally can't supply the energy, even with all the research and money we're putting into renewable energies and things like that? Or do you think we're, you know, maybe a little bit better off than we could be?
Is this directed to me?
Yes, I know it's the deep, deep question, but
the thing with this technology is that you have to understand we're going to run into some big problems up front. And I think that was one of the ones that we've all been talking about well before Elon tweeted anything about it. We kind of knew it. You know, I don't think it can last. We already have builders that are working on ways to make it more energy efficient. So I just see the space growing beyond that. It just is one of those problems that we came up to pretty quickly, that we knew that we needed to solve. And there are tons of projects that are currently trying to solve that. So I think we're going to overcome that pretty easily. And actually, this is really weird because I remember way back when, I'm going to guess the date, but I'm horrible at dates. Must have been 2016, 17, somewhere around that. I was reading an article where a gentleman was using the power generated from his mining rigs to support his garden outside. So, you know, and I knew then that already a problem and that people were already starting to develop ways in order to make it not a problem anymore. So I don't think that this is going to be a problem for us much longer. It just, you know, requires a little more work. And, you know, what technology doesn't? I mean, this is brand new. So we know we're going to have more problems than just that. We already do, like being user friendly, being kind of convoluted and not able to be readily digested by the average lay person who isn't in crypto. So I think these are problems that we're going to still come up across for a while, which is good for the traders and stuff because it gives us a little more time before a lot of people start flooding in. But yeah, we still have some problems we're going to have to work out, and energy is definitely one of them.
For sure. I agree 100%. You know, and that you kind of brought up the topic of custodial versus non-custodial, you know, with sort of with the user interface being clunky. And usually the reason for that is because handling private keys is messy, no matter which way you look at it. How do you feel about custodial wallets and custodial platforms? And where do you think we find a balance between ease of use and non-custodial holding?
Phrase that differently.
So where do we find a balance between managing your own private keys with a user interface that's still easy to use and not exchanges like Binance, for example, that actually manage your keys for you?
In other words, how do we store our private keys?
How do we not know that there's private keys there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
you mean to where it's not even really known that you have private keys, but that So then you're dealing with like a device like your phone that it recognizes.
I mean, that's kind of what we already have with
Right.
hardware wallets and stuff, right? Because I mean,
Mhm.
it's one of those things where eventually you have to find a balance, because the biggest cool thing about blockchain really in cryptocurrency is that you can manage your own keys, meaning that literally nobody else can, unless that key is compromised in some fashion, literally nobody else can do anything about your stuff, right?
Mhm.
Whereas if you're holding it in a custodial wallet where they're managing your private keys, they've got your keys in a database somewhere, and or they have them in a in a wallet in some fashion. But the point is they can easily be compromised at some point, and they have been in numerous cases compromised, and then your funds are at risk. Or if the interface that website or service provides you goes down and they disappear, your money's gone because they have your keys and you don't have them, and you can't open up another Bitcoin wallet and plug your keys in and get your money out. So it's kind of one of those things where eventually, you don't want to have custodial holdings where you don't have control over your keys, but also you want to have an easy interface where everything just works and you can just kind of log in with a password, for example, just not have to think that a private key even exists, yet somehow you still own and have control over that private key that allows you to access your wallet. So I mean, it's definitely a 2 or 3 step evolution here, but I'm just kind of curious where you see us going on that front.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do? This is another type of issue like energy usage. And this is what I mean. We're going to continue to come up with problems like this that need to be solved pretty easily, because the truth is, when I, explain to my friends, like, you have to be really in charge of your security and what you're doing, it's, it kind of scares them off. So we already know as a community, well, we're going to have to do something that allows people to use these more user friendly, like. So I don't really know. I don't know what happens, I don't think I have the best answer for that. It's just something that we're going to have to figure out as developers together and go forward and fail a few more times probably,
Right.
until we figure out a way to make it happen. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those questions that there's not really an answer for, right? But it's
Right.
fun to ask it to like literally everybody, depending on, because everybody has a different outlook on whether they prefer managing their keys or not managing them, and some people don't even care about that. And so you can kind of get this weird perspective from so many different angles, and then you start to sort of see how those all come together, because it requires the perspective of everybody to achieve a truly intuitive user experience, because you can't tailor it to one group, one mindset or one person. It has to be
Mhm.
something that is cohesive. And so it's just kind of like I almost want to call it data gathering, in a nerdy kind of way, but like, getting all the opinions from everybody, you can kind of start to see little pieces and stuff that come together. So it's cool. I like the way you approached it.
And then here's my question, are you a RV girl or a camper? I mean, a tent
That's a good question.
type person. Yeah, RV or a tent.
Thanks for taking us out of the technical rabbit hole that I like to drag us into.
But that's why we're balanced, right?
So was the question, am I an RV girl?
Are you an RV person or a tent person?
I'm a tent person. I'm from
Awesome.
the country.
So
That was gonna be the second
yeah.
part of the question. You're definitely a country girl, not a city
Yeah,
girl.
yeah.
yeah, I don't want no RV.
I-
like you can't take it off road and go like climbing in the hills and shit like that.
Right.
Depends on the RV. I'm just saying.
That's and which direction you're going. Yeah.
True. I had gone on a camping trip once, and woke up and there were so many spiders on top of my tent and in my tent. And that was the only time at which I looked at my friends that were with me and I said, you know what, maybe glamping next time, especially in this part, because I'm not a spider doer.
Spiders and snakes, I'd have been like a little running out of the tent.
Yeah, I'd say I'm not a spider person. Like I would be in a
Not my cup
tent
of tea.
any day. And if there was a bear like sniffing around, I'd probably be, a little bit less scared of that than spiders. Like I'm not
Right?
I don't want to say
Yup.
I'm not afraid of spiders, because that would be a lie, because there's definitely that inherent, like, I don't run away from the spider, but also I don't want that on me. And if it lands on me, I'm definitely gonna like freak out a little bit and shake it off of me. So I'm kind of scared of spiders a little bit.
Okay, so
And if they were making webs in my fucking tent overnight, I would be pissed.
quick spider story. I was at Clint Westwood's place, right, for Westwood 2021. And we're sitting there, we're drinking, drinking at the bar behind, in the barn, and sitting there having a drink. And I look over and I thought it was a fucking, Halloween ring, right? Just, those big black spider Halloween rings.
Yeah.
I was like, one of the kids must have dropped it at Halloween time, right? I walked over and that some bitch moved. I was went and grabbed the spray. I'm like, spray that thing. I was like, it's alive. Oh my God. It was that big. I was like, yeah, no, I'm good.
No, thank you. No, thanks.
When we were there for the first Westwood, I still swear that I saw what I don't remember what they're called now. Murder hornets. Is that what was the big thing in 2020?
Murder hornets. Yeah.
And they were like these big ass orange bees. I still swear I saw one of those fucking things. Flew off.
That's possible.
I mean, we all had been up for a couple of days straight, and there had been a lot of alcohol consumed over the time. So it may not have been a murder hornet, but I'm sure there was a murder hornet at Clint's house.
So you're my neighbor to the south, Indiana. Yeah,
you're in Michigan?
I am.
Aha. Okay.
Yeah. And so you moved to California, and you've seen everything in between. So are you happier in California, or are you still a Midwest girl at heart?
Midwest at heart. You can take the country girl out of the country, but
right,
she's still a country girl. But I will say that at this point in my life, at this age in my life, it's a fun place to be. It's a lucrative place to be for me right now. So I'm going to see that out at least for the next few years and see what I can make of it.
I remember my 30s too. Yeah, they were good times.
I always say I stopped at 29, and anything after that is just field experience. So I'm 29. Let's see, I'm 29 with 2 years field experience.
There you go. Exactly. I love it. So if you had to pick one place in the world that you would like to travel to, where would that be? That you haven't been, obviously.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to travel all over. I've never been to Asia. I have an opportunity to go to Singapore and Japan next year, so I will get that under my belt. But I have always wanted to go to like the Greek islands, and maybe see more of France. I don't know if you guys know I speak French, so it's kind of like, it's my calling. And do you guys know Money Alata?
Oh yeah.
He's down there.
On the show a few times.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
He's down there in Marseille, so I promised him I'd come give him a visit.
He did your background for your Twitter.
He sure did.
Yeah,
he sure did. Yeah.
Back before he was minting NFTs, he was doing those banners. Those were like the first. I mean, the first money work I saw, I think, was the John McAfee stuff, the If My Life Were a Movie things. But then the Twitter banners were like right around that same period, and I almost paid him $300 and I had him made me one, and then I didn't. But I got hooked up with Benza, so thanks, Benza.
Right, we were close to having money design something for the campfire.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good opportunity to throw a little teaser out there while we're talking about money, because we do have that Crypto Campfire Midsummer Nights NFT marathon coming up here in about a week and a half ish,
right?
Like that, and money is going to be the opening episode, so you're not going to want to miss that.
Right, that's going to be
cool.
Awesome.
Love him.
That's going to be awesome. And Benza got that badass artwork going and did that campfire sign all that was bad. I was like,
so cool.
That's so cool. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be one hell of a marathon, and I'm excited for that release. That's gonna be big.
Oh yeah,
definitely gonna be big.
It's coming up. There's definitely gonna be some giveaways along with that too. And you know what, this is kind of actually going to be an accidental shill, but I'm not going to feel bad about it. So I've got NFTs I just minted that are, you remember the Triceratops Horn story? I'm just going to repeat it because Sly doesn't, nobody else knows it. I was at the store looking at fossils and shit, and I found a really cool megalodon shark tooth I was all excited about, like really excited about. And I stood up and I looked for Rhonda because I'm going to be like, check out the shark tooth I found for like $9. I'm buying it. You know, like it's just a fragment. And I stand up and I back into a freaking display case behind me. And all I hear is this display case lean and then land back on the floor. It's heavy. And then something really heavy hits the ground. I'm not looking behind me. And I'm like, Like, you just know I'm in a fucking like fossil and rock shop. Like, there's nothing in here that's heavy, that's cheap.
Fuck, I gotta sell.
And I'm like, what did I just buy?
What did I just buy?
And I turn around, and at first glance, it's just this kind of like long, tapered, pointy thing. And you know, they have a lot of those like old squid, fossil squid. It's not a squid. I don't know what they're called, but like they look like a squid and they're a fossil. And at first, I was like, shit, I just bought a $10,000 squid. I don't want that. You know, upon closer inspection, I discovered it was a $6,500 Triceratops horn. So it broke a little bit off the back edge, kind of crumbled a little bit, and posted it on Twitter, and it got a lot of attention because it was this stupid story, and I just accidentally bought a $6,000 Triceratops horn. And you know, the NFT community is the majority of my Twitter audience, and it was made clear that I must mint fragments of the Triceratops horn and sell them individually. So I've got 21 fragments that I've minted. A couple are gone, but I think maybe I'll pull one of those from sale and reserve it for the Crypto Campfire Midsummer Nights Marathon. We give away a Triceratops horn.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
By the way, Midsummer is one of my favorite Shakespeare plays. So
Yeah.
nice name.
Thanks. It is.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it's like, probably haven't read it since junior year of high school. But out of all of them, that and Macbeth were interesting to me.
Macbeth,
Macbeth?
definitely.
That's the one. Or Titus Andronicus. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had to read a lot because I was a theater major in school. Well, actually, I was a biology major. And then I switched. So
That's okay.
Oh, shit.
I've always wanted to get into biology because I had this sort of like slight fascination with the concept of biotech. And I never got into it, you know, but like they were starting a class at Rocky the last year that I was there on biotechnology and bioengineering. And I was like, really, you know, it was like 2 more years. It was going to add a bunch of shit to mine. I was like, no, and I didn't even finish graduating there anyway. So it really wouldn't have mattered at this point, but hindsight's 2020. And maybe one of these days I'll get into biological engineering, but there's all kinds of cool shit happening out there.
Oh yeah.
Merging biology and tech.
The only biological engineering I'm doing is how to fix a Band-Aid.
Yeah, there you go. That's okay.
That's about
Maybe
it.
we can biologically engineer a Band-Aid that creates its own cells for you. So who knows?
Oh, there you go.
But I made a bunch of cool wood pieces today. I'll post those.
What'd you
later.
make?
A bunch of plywood pieces. Okay, so it started. I got this big wall in this beautiful. This is an old area in Detroit, and these houses were all of like wealthy families back in the day, like Edison and so on. And this guy had water damage on this one wall, and so we have to replace all of these wood panels in this wall, and they're like a old like brown oak wood panel, and you can't just go to the store and buy this shit, right? So I had to literally find fletches, actual veneer fletches, which is when they take a chunk of tree and they slice it 1/16 of an inch thick, and they literally cut this tree like this, and that's how they get that cut. And so I had this stack of fletches I had to take to a veneer place, and they actually put those fletches together on veneer. And then now I have to actually add that veneer to another 1/4 inch piece of wood to make the panel. So it was quite an interesting day. It's been an interesting event trying to put all this stuff together and get all these parts and pieces that you just can't find. And then of course doing battle with the insurance companies. That's always fun too. but that's been the joy of my day. So last question, Sly, I want to know, when it comes to music and when it comes to like artists, do you have a favorite female artist and a favorite male artist when it comes to vocals and music?
Oh gosh, that's such a hard question because there's so many good ones.
There are.
Gosh, I'd have to think about that one because you know how you give an answer and then like 20 minutes later you're like,
damn
no,
it, right.
obviously.
Okay,
that
let's
one
go
was
something
better.
simpler. Let's go with genre. What would be your favorite genre of music? Blues, rhythm, or rock, or you know, choral music, or
Also hard for me. I would say my favorite I grew up with my dad, right? So classic rock is almost always playing for me, but jazz might be my all-time favorite. I love
Okay.
singing jazz. I love listening to jazz, but I was in a bunch of choirs, so choral music is something that speaks to me as well. I love pop. The only thing that I didn't really get into was like current age country, but I love bluegrass and old school country. So it's just,
Old Hank Williams
yeah.
and the old school
Willie Dixon, like way
yes.
far back. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's way
yeah.
back. Willie Dixon. Holy
Yeah, yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Or my favorite was the Highwaymen. I really love the Highwaymen, old Chris
Yes.
Christopherson and Waylon Jennings and that whole crew
Oh,
was
Waylon.
just
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. So I know I put that in the tweet and I got to ask you if we could put you on the spot. Is there anything that you would do for us vocally to sing something short even? And I
Um,
understand if it's a no because of your voice, because you just had laryngitis, as she calls.
I know, right? It's I don't know how it's gonna sound, but I mean, I guess I could pull off something.
I'm sure you
Um,
could.
okay.
We'll give you a second.
Okay.
That's nice of you.
I
You
know,
got 1
right?
second. Go.
One and go. I heard there was a secret chord David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift. Baffled kings composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Yay, that was awesome.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you so much. Oh, goodness. Guys,
Love it.
we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. This was a shit ton of fun. I was looking forward to it. Go ahead.
I do want to mention one more thing before I go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have been working with this project, not working with them, but they have been so kind to let me start sitting in on the back end and watching their developers code and see how they solve problems and all of this sort of stuff. And I kind of want to plug them because
Do
my
it.
next show is about them. Their
Yeah,
name is
please do.
CobaltLens. So far they're smaller, but they're about to get much bigger. These guys created they started to create a platform that was about lending and borrowing. They wanted a way for projects that were dying or didn't have enough funds to come in and get some help. And so they started to build this project that would help them get loans in order to finish their projects up, but it's all community based. So the community votes on which projects deserve the money. Is it a viable project? Is it one that actually works? And the work that they've been doing is absolutely incredible. I'm so honored to even be around them because they started as this lending and borrowing platform, and now they've evolved. They have their own ecosystem now, and they're trying to bring in these projects in order for these projects to be able to help each other with coding and just developing their own stuff. They've done incredible work. Most of them are military men and some of them are college students. So the discipline is there for that project. And
Nice.
they even just recently announced that they're going to do a student program where they allow students who want to be developers to come on and practice on a test net. And they're going to
That's
be there
cool.
in the background to help these students figure it out so that once they graduate, they're into the crypto world and they've seen this done from the back end up. And they've just been incredible. So CobaltLens, shameless plug.
Absolutely.
You
Yo, check
guys
them
got to
out.
check them out. You got to check them out.
Definitely.
CobaltLens.com. They're on Twitter.
I already wrote it down.
Cool, cool,
Definitely gonna
cool.
check
Yeah,
that
they're
out.
great.
Awesome. Thank you, Sly. And guys, thank you so much for listening tonight. This has been an amazing podcast, amazing episode with an amazing person and an amazing audience. Thank you all so much for your support. You know, I've said this in the past and I always try to say it as much as possible. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have this show. We wouldn't have people to talk to. And so thank you all of that for blessing. Thank you. Thank you all for blessing us with that. Thank you. That's what I wanted to say. And Sly, this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good rest of your night.
You
Take
as
it
well.
easy,
I'll
everybody.
talk to you guys soon.
All right, guys. Peace.
See ya.